Okay, guy. Let me say this really, really calmly to you, because everyone wants to go back and forth over all the fire stuff and the do's and the don'ts. Here's the thing. When you have a state like California, okay, and it is prone to wildfires, your leader, elected leader, Gavin Newsom, should have his state prepared for something that happens literally every year. Summer, winter, doesn't matter. It happens every year. A strike of lightning can cause fire, okay? So you need to do controlled burns, okay? Which means all the forest floor where all the wood and the leaves and all that's piled up then becomes like gasoline when fire happens. All those embers go up, they start traveling distances, more fire starts. Yes, arson has been part of this as well, okay? We already know all this. But when it comes down to elected leadership, you should have your reservoirs full, which weren't. All of your fire hydrants should be working and up to par, which weren't. You should have controlled burns, which wasn't being done. And yes, you can still create fire lines in canyons. The fuck? Like, where'd you get that from? And you want to know why I know this? Because I'm literally married to a firefighter lieutenant in the fire department. Like, so I know all of this pretty well, actually. And yes, we had a conversation about this, okay? Can one man stop this from happening? No, but he can damn sure make sure that his state is prepared in case this happens. He should also make sure that his mayor in LA didn't cut the fire department funding at $15 million to support illegal immigration into his state, taking money from that and putting it over here, okay? Yeah, maybe he shouldn't really lean on DEI and start leaning more on preparing his state for something that happens to his state every single year. Our governor here in Florida, make sure that our state is prepared for hurricane season. He does it every year because that is one way to combat this happening and continuing to happen, okay? You want to defund your fire department and make sure that their apparatus is not up. The fire chief was literally on CNN saying we were defunded, we are understaffed because of the defunding, and half of her apparatus is still sitting on the line, not working, and they don't have the money to work. There's reports coming out that other states in Oregon are sending their fire trucks in to help, and guess what? They're still sitting at the border because of smog testing. Again, all of these things should be taken care of by the person you guys elected to run your state. And this guy hasn't done it. He has leaned very heavily on Democratic bullshit and ideology and not had his state prepared. Okay? Regardless. And once you have that happen, all of those things continuing to happen, and then a fire breaks out, and then it goes combined with 100-mile-per-hour winds, no, you're not going to stop it. That thing's going to take off like gasoline, and it's not going to stop until everything in its path is gone. Okay? So it's amazing to me watching you guys do backflips and somersaults trying to protect your privileged Gavin Newsom. Okay? He's being dragged right now because of incompetence. And he is incompetent. He just thinks that he can sit up on Twitter all day long and fight with anyone who says anything negative about him, which he's been doing since this has happened, and making sure he's in front of every flipping camera, which he has been doing since this has happened, instead of doing what needs to be done to prepare your state. Okay? Yeah. And people are pissed, and they are rightfully so to be pissed about this. He has been grossly incompetent in the state of California. You have the highest taxes, the highest everything, and his state is a mess. It is a mess. So many people have moved out of California because of gross incompetence. And when this happened, the mayor, she wasn't even there. She wasn't even there. And when she gets off the plane, when she flies back to California from her sabbatical in Africa, she has nothing to say to the reporter that's waiting for her. He literally was like, do you have anything to say about this? And she didn't have all her people around her to give her a prepared notice to let her know what to say. That's what's going on. Don't you understand that? The people that you hire to represent you should have you and your best interests of that state in its mind. And it doesn't. You know what Gavin Newsom has in his mind? How the hell do I get to be on every camera so I can run for president? And keep this in mind, California, the way that your state looks right now, if this man gets his wishes and becomes president, what do you think America's going to look like? It's called common sense at this point, right? It's common sense. You're going to have California look this way. He gets to be president. That's exactly how America's going to look. I mean, my guy, it's common sense, bro. It's common sense. Can Gavin Newsom responsible for the fire? No, he didn't start the fire. Is arson part of the problem? Yes, people have been arrested for arson. Okay? But to prepare your state is what people are angry about. Okay? Yes, they're angry their entire house is burned down, but they're also angry at the incompetence of their leadership. Okay? And I know this because I live in Florida and we elected the right governor. Okay? Our governor prepares our state for hurricane season every single season. He makes sure power lines, the trees are cut away from the power lines. He makes sure they're starting to really do a lot more putting power lines under the ground. He makes sure we have power trucks up ready to go. He makes sure that every fire department, EMS, 911 operator is on staff. When he calls that whole red alert thing, every single shift of every single fire department is put on mandatory. They are there from the beginning to the end. And they're there. I know this, once again, because I'm married to one, for fuck's sake. He's being dragged right now, and in my personal opinion, deserves every single bit of it. Every single bit of it, okay? He does not have the things that he needs in line to get his state ready for wildfires, whether it happens today, tomorrow, or next week. Just because it's winter doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to still have a wildfire, okay? And yes, you absolutely can cut fire lines in the canyons. I don't know where you're getting that from, but hey, you want to make sure that your fire departments are funded, they're fully staffed, but that's not what's happened. And that's why he is in trouble right now. And that's why people are angry with him. And rightfully so, my guy. Rightfully so. Okay? So I hope we figured all this out. All right? Because it's amazing that you guys are just doing backflips. Like the same thing with Biden. The man was suffering from fucking dementia and you guys were doing backflips trying. No, he isn't. He's great. He's wonderful. He's the best president we ever had. Learn to look what is incompetent and say it's incompetent. And stop just being almighty bend the knee to the Democrat Party. I'll be the first one to admit there's all kinds of problems in the Republican Party, which is a party that I am part of. I have said on numerous times that Donald Trump is not a perfect man and has made many mistakes. Okay? But you guys don't even want to do that. You won't even look in your party and call a spade because you are just bending the knee to them. Wake up. Wake up. These politicians don't care about you. They care about their own political gain. That's it. Okay? And what's happening to Gavin Newsom right now is 100% deserved, in my humble opinion. Okay? So I hope we've cleared all this up. All of these things that has happened prior to these fires is 100% preventable. Preventable! And he chose not to. He chose to stick to his DEI and ideology and all of that crap. And why? Because he wants to be the president of this country. And if that happens, America will start looking like California. No thank you. I'm going to say no thank you on that. Okay? Okay. Hope this helped. Good talk.